Dermot Heaney is our last speaker, and Dermot is from Kilberry, just outside Navan in County Meath, and Dermot's going to talk to us about the technologies he's using to adopt and improve on his dairy farm sustainability. So Dermot, he's on a free drain milking platform at 37 hectares, and he has another outside block, and he's producing milk for Lakeland dairies, and the system is centered around achieving high levels of grass utilization, and Dermot has a big emphasis based on soil fertility and adoption of new technologies. No doubt, Dermot, you have an in-date set of soil samples and a nutrient management plan made up from the results of the poll there. Have you started calving, Dermot?
Yeah, we have actually started calving. We have about 30 heifers calved now, and two cows as well.
Okay, so this presentation wouldn't have once been next week, so.
No, definitely not.
No, you would have been. You'll be in the thick of it next week, so.
Yeah.
And I suppose just it's getting into the busy season on farms, so it's important, everyone keeps safety at the top of their minds. That you're, take rest and get enough sleep and enough food and mind yourselves out on farms at the minute. And Dermot, you're supplying Lakeland dairies.
That's right.
Yeah. And so you're on 483 kgs of milk solids. What did you think of what Ninka was saying there about increasing the concentrates?
The concentrates?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I to be honest, I wouldn't be a big fan myself of increasing the concentrates, but having said that, in 2021, I used over 900 kilos per cow, and I was disappointed with that. I think we had a drought in the month of June, and that had a big part in the higher level of concentrates.
Okay, yeah, and a lot of the things, what Ninka was talking about there, the less and the protected urea are all things we'll hear you talk about now. And you're in the signpost program as well, Dermot.
That's right. Yeah. No, Owen McPartland, he's on this session as well, so maybe Owen might come in with a few words from time to time, but so Owen is my advisor through the signpost program, and it's basically, I suppose, to try and farm more sustainably, and we're a monitor farm for County Meath.
So you'll be busy with that program for this year. So work away there, so Dermot.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Dermot Heaney is my name, from just outside Navan, County Meath. I'm farming with my wife, Catherine, and I have 3 sons and 1 daughter. Andrew, 23, Laura's 22, Matthew is 19, and Dermot is 17. And we have a spring calving herd of about 240 to 250 cows. So next slide, please, Owen. Yeah, so in 2021, we were farming 113 hectares. There's 76 hectares on the home block, which is all owned, and then the leased land is 37 hectares, and then so the milking platform is the home block of 76 hectares. So we're stocked at a little over three cows to the hectare there. The overall stocking rate on the farm is 2.8 for 2021. Milk solids per cow was a little short of the 500 kilos per cow. Milk solids per hectare is about 1,000 kilos per hectare on the overall farm. And then the concentrates is a little bit on the high side at 931 per cow. And then the cows for the year averaged about 234. So we were milking about 248 at peak. And then with a few lame cows being dried off and empty cows being dried off during the year, we averaged out at 234. So we keep replacement heifers of around 60 or a little more from year to year. The herd EBI is 189. Then the 6-week calving rate wouldn't be too far off the mark at 87%. And the days at grass 277. Grass production on the milking platform was a little bit disappointing for the last couple of years at just over 13 tons per hectare, and fertilizer use is 247 per hectare, and we aim to try and reduce that a bit. Yeah, we've a big emphasis on soil testing, and we've been in the Lakeland scheme for soil sampling, which was subsidized by Lakeland in the last 4 out of the last 6 years, and we tried to act on those results as soon as possible. And I know this time last year when I got the results, there was I think all of the home block was index 3 or 4, and 2/3 of it was good for pH as well. So the ones that weren't, we addressed that as soon as we got the results. So hopefully at the moment the home farm is more or less perfect for P and K and pH. So yeah, the out farm is probably the one that we need to focus on now. We're just waiting on the soil testing results on that, because we do take quite a bit of silage off that, and it's also used for the replacement heifers. So yeah, and you can just see in the last few years how the soil fertility has improved on the bar chart there on your left hand side. So next slide, Owen, please. Yeah, excuse me, the 76 hectare milking platform, 13 tons of grass. Yeah, we haven't quite figured out why the 13 tons is not increasing. I think it could be, well, I think the drought was part of it, but also I've been told by one advisor that maybe we're grazing covers with the cows that are not optimum. We're possibly grazing 12 to 1300 pre-grazing height, whereas we should be grazing maybe 15 to 1600. So in other words, we're possibly going on to paddocks when they're not just strong enough, and that would affect the overall growth. Yeah, so that just the bar chart just shows you the yield for each paddock there. We do quite a bit of measuring, and the results go up on Pasture Based Ireland. So yeah, next slide, Owen, please. Yeah, the technologies to improve sustainability. Yeah, the nitrogen fertilizer, we'd be trying to reduce that, and I suppose one of the things we're doing on that is we're trying to use the slurry as a source of nitrogen. So we spread slurry on about 40% of the milking platform there about 2 weeks ago. Well, just when the slurry season started, so we got 40% of the farm covered, and normally we would maybe only cover maybe 20% or 25%. But we recorded the dry matter in the slurry and found that it was about 3.5% dry matter, and then we were able to calculate that we spread roughly 16 to 18 units of nitrogen per hectare, or sorry, per acre, on the milking platform. So yeah, the whole farm NUE is 25%. So I think that's a measurement of the efficiency of the nitrogen. So we'd be aiming to have, well, maybe to get up to 30% there. Last year we sowed a paddock with grass and clover, and yeah, the NUE on that was recorded at 39%, which is above the target of 30%. Last year we'd be fans of the protected urea on our farm, but there was a supply issue last autumn with protected urea, so we used CAN instead. But it's something that I suppose the farmers and the industry will have to try and address in the future, that the protected urea must be the one that we're all using. And in the board BIA audit, our CO2 produced per kilo of fat and protein corrected was 0.85, and the target there is 0.7. But I think 0.85 is a fairly good figure, but we've still a bit to do on that. We invested in our own dribble bar for the umbilical system. We actually got into the umbilical system ourselves probably 9 or 10 years ago, and we bought the dribble bar last year through the grant scheme, and it seems to work quite well. There's a bit of work to it, and you need somebody working it who knows what they're doing, but it works for us anyway. I mentioned about the dry matter in the slurry, so we used a hydrometer to measure the dry matter, and you can see there what the NP and K level was per 1,000 gallons. Next slide, Owen, please. So the reseeds, last year we did a 4-hectare paddock on the home block with grass and clover. We did a full reseed on it, and it worked very well. And then also there was about 3 hectares at home on the home block, and 3 hectares in the out farm that were done with the oversowing method. It was done with a stitching in machine with kind of mixed results. Just didn't work that well. So when you do that, of course, the stitching in, you have to graze at 700 to 800 kilos, at relatively low covers, and also you have to keep the nitrogen out of the system on that paddock for a few weeks, and so you have a bit of a loss there if you want to oversow with clover. And also any of the high clover paddocks are usually grazed last in the final rotation in November, which is what we did. So the paddocks that were oversown, we may need to oversow them again in 2022, because they just didn't perform the way the clover didn't get established the way we wanted it to. So the lessons from the first year in the signpost program is to oversow maybe in the month of April rather than in it was done around the 1st of June. So I think that might work better, and also broadcasting might be a better option than the stitching in, because the machine may have put the seed down too deep, and also we need to try and avoid the drought conditions. And I suppose when you get into June, you're maybe taking a bit of a risk. Next slide, Owen, please. So yeah, the EBI is fairly good. I see there it's 192 at the moment, which should be, I suppose, it should be a fairly good EBI. We have used Jersey sires over the years, but maybe have gone a little bit away from Jersey in the last couple of years. and really aiming for high EBI regardless of what the breed is. And the sex semen we haven't used in the last few years. We did use it about 4 or 5 years ago with not great results, but we intend to use it this year, and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, the profit per hectare on the farm, it's gone up and down a little bit, so there's plenty of room for improvement there. And then just on sustainability in general, we need to monitor and improve the financial performance of the farm, and I'm lucky to have good advisors around me who's kind of encouraging me along the way through this signpost program. Definitely the biodiversity aspect of our farm needs a lot of attention. I've really done nothing in the last few years on trees and hedges and habitats, so I definitely need to up my game on that. Protected urea, I think, is a big one. I think it's really a no-brainer now at this stage, given all that we've learned about it in the last few months. It has to be protected urea all the way, and obviously the 01020s and 0730s for the P&K. So I intend to do at least 10% of the farm every year with clover, and probably using some red clover as well as the white clover, and we'll probably do some over sowing as well again this spring, but probably not in the month of June, probably more like April, when there's a bit more moisture on the ground. So next slide, Owen, please. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say now, and thank you for listening.
Thanks very much, Dermot. That was really good, and good for people to see how you're adapting on farm. And I think I really took from the clover there. People talk about clover like it's a silver bullet, but it's hard to establish clover on farms. And I think from the information you gave us there on your experience with it so far, it's good to see what you've learned from it and pass that on to other farmers.